You ready?
Thiago?
Yes. Okay, let's roll with Thiago. Big hand for Thiago, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I am here to tell you a story. It's actually a very old story. Everyone has heard of this story. You know, web app meets NativeScript. They look at each other. They start dating. They fall in love. They get married. And this is one of those stories. But before that, let me tell you something about me. My name is Tiago Alves. I think this is not working. Okay. Whoa, what's happening here? Okay. I enjoy long walks on the beach, which is nice. I really like NativeScript, and especially NativeScript Vue is my favorite flavor of NativeScript. I also try to get involved on meetups wherever I am, one in Aveiro and then another in Belo Horizonte in Brazil, where I was living. I work at IRC.com, and I will tell you more about this company and this project. And I work with the Kiwi IRC mobile team. Actually, I don't work at the Kiwi IRC mobile team. I am the Kiwi IRC mobile team. So, yeah, there's that. This is not working. I have to. Okay. So, first of all, what is IRC? I see a lot of young people here. Maybe someone has not even ever heard of it. So, IRC stands for Internet Relay Chat. And it's like a very old protocol, one of the first chat protocols that appeared on the internet in 1993. And it was a basic protocol that allowed clients to connect to servers. And so clients would talk to each other in a typical client-server application. But the truth is that even if IRC kind of went down into the deepest corners of the internet, it never actually died. And all these years it kept evolving. And so right now there is this group called IRC v3 that keeps on pushing the standards and extending the protocol. So right now, some of the most popular IRC networks are actually formed by not one server, but by a network of servers that all talk between each other. So it's really, it's really complex, but at the same time very tested. We also have another type of service called bouncers. These are small services that stand between the client and the server. And these bouncers, they provide services that right now we feel like they are common and mandatory in every chat application. Things like you can turn off your client, and when you go back, you see the backlog of messages when you turn the client on again. So the bouncer stays connected to the network on behalf of the user, and also provides all sorts of things like you can be connected in two clients at the same time. So, for instance, on your desktop, but also on your phone. This seems like, you know, basic stuff, but actually the IRC protocol does not implement that by itself. And also, for instance, we just implemented push notifications in the bouncer, so we can send notifications to our mobile app. So what is Kiwi IRC? What is this project that I am working on? Actually, when I was asked to participate in this project, I didn't quite know what Kiwi IRC was, but I had a feeling that I saw that name somewhere. Oh, right, it's one of the sponsors of NativeScript Vue. So I immediately knew that this is the theme that I want to work on. So Kiwi IRC is a modern web IRC client. It's highly customizable. You can change the look and feel, the theme. You can add all sorts of plugins. Some guy even implemented small games that you can play within Kiwi IRC and using the communication infrastructure. It uses web sockets to communicate with the server. And I work at IRC.com. So this company, we want to bring IRC back. And they sponsor a lot of open source projects related to IRC. So our goal is to make IRC popular again, because we still think that it's a great protocol, and it's open source, it's free. People can install it in their, can create their own network and don't have to be locked in with some vendor. So that is what we are trying to do. And of course, creating a nice and attractive mobile app is an important piece of this goal. So this is the app. I know that she's not that pretty, but she has a good personality. Also, we are making a new version, so with a proper design. So this was all just me. So yeah, next version will be better. Okay, so when I started this project, we had a big question. How are we going to structure the application so that we could share as much code as possible? So in your traditional code sharing project, where you have the mobile app and the web app in the same project, in the same code base, there are, of course, some nice things with that. First, you have a single code base, so it's only half the projects to manage. And actually, Kiwi IRC was pretty well made, and it was built in this layered structure. So you have the views that talk with a bunch of libs and utils. So the core and the logic of the application is completely separated from the view, the views, which in Vue, they are Vue components. Yeah. And also there is another package, IRC framework, that deals with everything related to connecting to the IRC framework, the IRC network. But on the other hand, there were some things to consider. It was a different team. So there are developers that work on the web app, and there was the mobile team, aka me. So they were at different stages. So the Kiwi web version is done, and the mobile app was just starting. So the features were not even comparable. And also the way that Kiwi IRC was made, its routing strategy did not quite fit NativeScript, and also the component architecture did not match the way that apps in NativeScript should be made. And code shared projects are great when you have like a very reasonable match between native components and web components. So you can just split the view part of your app, but that was not quite the case. So we came to a compromise. So as most relationships work, they are based on compromises. So we came with this compromise. We are using a monorepo. So we have two folders, one the mobile, that's where our mobile app is. And another folder, the web app, that's actually a Git submodule, so we can synchronize both projects very easily. And with some Webpack magic, we made it so that we can very easily access the libraries and utils on the web, on the web project. So we started holding hands and going towards the sunset, you know, strolling at the beach. And this is how we started sharing our code. So basically, as I said, the web app was built in these layers, but the mobile app only had to focus on the Vue part, so implementing the views, the interface. It has some libraries and some utils, but it's very thin because we are mostly using the code from the web. And you know when you fall in love for the first time, you meet this person and you start talking, and you start feeling that you have a lot in common, and you start seeing that you are a perfect match for each other. Well, that's kind of my feeling with Kiwi. So as the project grew, I started seeing more and more opportunities to share code. For starters, since both projects are written in Vue, that came actually quite advantages for us. For instance, the internationalization package that we use on the web version, I didn't actually have to do anything. I just used this package. I used even the translation files from the web version, and bam, I have a mobile app that works on, I don't know, 20 different languages. Also, the web version uses themes, so you can change the theme in your app, and it does that by replacing the CSS file. Thankfully, there was this plugin called NativeScript themes that allow you to do that. So you can just change the CSS, and the app kind of reloads in runtime and switch everything in runtime. It's almost magical. So we are just using that. Okay, good. And of course, another big and important part of the application is the communication. So the web app uses WebSockets, and thankfully there was also this awesome plugin, NativeScript WebSockets, that basically implements the WebSocket API for the browser. It also makes it available in the NativeScript world. So I just had to require this package, and then suddenly WebSockets work, and code that is somewhere in some other library just started working. Awesome, great. So, oh, by the way, much love to Nathaniel. He's the creator of these two packages. If you are seeing me, well. Okay. So another technique that we used is inversion of control. Inversion of control, or also called IOC, is a pattern where you tell something to do something, but you tell it how. So, for instance, it's kind of easier with code. For instance, when we want to save the user data and the application state, so that when the user closes the browser or when the user closes the app and opens it again, of course he wants to log in the same networks and use the same username and use the same and use the same channels. So on the web, we use the local storage. On the mobile, we have application settings. So we use inversion of control. So this state persistence class it lives on the libraries of the web version. And this class is responsible to know and to gather all the data that needs to be persisted. And so we want to use that, and that code is the same for the web and for the mobile version. So it's nice that we keep it shared, but the way that we actually store the information is different. So in the web you have local storage, in the mobile you have application storage. So we pass the how. We tell, hey, state persistence, you deal with the state persistence, but this is how you actually save and load the state. We did the same, for instance, for the audio manager, which is the part that listens to events and plays sounds. It's the same thing. That code is shared, and we just tell it when we construct it how it should actually play the sound. So it was another very cool technique to share the code. And of course, the mobile app uses a ton of code and a ton of libraries from the web version. The state is the whole state of the app, the networks that the user is connected and its channels, but also the preferences. All that code is shared. Also things like message formatting. So when we receive a message, there are all sorts of things that we have to do. For instance, if the message has colors, we have to parse it and make sure that, okay, this is red, this is blue, or sometimes it has a link. So we have to deal with all these parts and put it all together. So again, the web version, the web code splits it all in nice little chunks that I can put together easily in a string formatter. And also configuration, etc. So in conclusion, this is my story, but I really want you to get something out of it. So there are lots of ways to share code. So if your app does not quite fit the model that you get when you start a code share project, there are other solutions. This is one. Maybe we will not keep with this solution forever, but for now it works. Also, separation of concerns may help you in the future. So it was a good thing that our app, our web app was nicely developed in layers. So that's good. Also, keep an eye on IRC and Kiwi, because we are going to be big, maybe. And finally, always bet on NativeScript, because this is definitely a success story about using NativeScript. And it worked for us, and I would recommend it for everyone. So thank you. I'll leave you with this video with my dog, Chewie. By the way, that's my mandatory Star Wars reference. So he's chasing another dog. And thank you very much. Just a small pitch. I am writing this book, Hands-on Mobile Native Development, with NativeScript Vue, with my friend Manuel Sayalicis, who is also very active in the NativeScript Vue community. Keep an eye on that. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Good.